guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to go over everything we did for the month of December in our homeschool and kind of our January plans for the new year. If this is your first time here, I'm a homeschooling mom with 2 kids at home. I have a daughter who's 10 in 5th grade and my son is 4. December for us was so fun, filled with so many fun things with family and friends. We had a great December. It was very busy though, and a little overwhelming at times. So I am grateful that the holiday season is coming to an end and we're starting a new fresh year with not that many plans and kind of more low key, as I'm sure a lot of you moms can relate to. All right, let's delve into the homeschooling. This month we changed nothing. We didn't add anything new except for our Christmas curriculum. But aside from that, we've just been plugging along. So if you've seen my November update, then we still used all that same curriculum. We did end a few things and start some new things, and we'll be starting new things in January. So let's dive right in. Let's start with language arts. All right, let's start with Baywolf Grammar. So far, we're on quarter 2. We did start this late in the year last year. This is for grades 2nd through 6th. I highly recommend this curriculum. It is so much fun. My daughter wants to do it next year, which we'll be able to do, I'm pretty sure, because we're about 3/4 through quarter 2, and we still have quarter 3 and quarter 4. Plus, we also started using, they have a review booklet that comes with their curriculum where it breaks down, let me give you an example. Like for week 27, you'll have a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday review. So that means every week you're kind of a week behind on the curriculum that you were learning, and you can review the concepts. So you're not just learning it once and kind of moving on. This helps incorporate it throughout the curriculum. However, how I've decided to add this review curriculum is we now do Baywolf Grammar 3 days a week, and 1 day a week we'll do the review, and I'll just have her do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That way she's getting new concepts, but she's also getting review of previous concepts. So I think between this review and the 2 more quarters we have in Baywolf Grammar, it will definitely be able to use this through most of 6th grade. All right, next we're going to move on to my favorite all-time curriculum. You probably already know this if you've been watching my channel, Writing and Rhetoric. We finished level 1 Fables, and I'll actually be filming my review of level 1 Fables for this curriculum, so be watching out for this. Loved it so much. It was seriously so amazing. It helped strengthen my daughter in so many different aspects. This is a great curriculum. I recommend it to anybody. So for January, we'll be starting level 2. I've gone through this a little bit. I'm really excited to do it, and we'll be starting this as soon as we start back in the new year. All right, so if you've been watching me for a while, you know I've kind of gone down a vocabulary journey. I haven't quite found anything that I liked. And in November, I let you know that I was going to be starting daily academic vocabulary, which is technically 5 days a week. However, we combine 4 and 5 easily to make this a 4-day curriculum. This curriculum, in conjunction with word ladders and spectrum vocabulary, which both give different elements that this doesn't include, is a dynamite combination, and it's not too much. This curriculum, my daughter loves. It's engaging. It has lesson plans. It has directions on how to communicate, how to explain different definitions. Every single week, the 4 words are all related to each other in some way. So it makes it so much easier to understand them and teaches them how they're connected to each other. I love the prompts and examples they give you and the worksheets that you do afterwards. It's very short. Look, day 3, day 4, day 5. They're very simple, but she's really been catching on. And I feel like this really is an amazing curriculum, and I can't believe I didn't hear about it before, but I would highly recommend this. All right. We have been plugging along Primary Mathematics Standard Edition. Please excuse my $6 used copy. We are on 4B. We have less than a week left. We almost finished this before the new year, and I really wish we had, but I just had to kind of let that go. We use this in conjunction with Wisdom Wonder Project. I will be doing a review on level 4 of this curriculum, in addition to how we incorporated the video subscription Wisdom Wonder Project, which is just amazing. I can't say enough good things about it. We're moving on to 5A, which does line up with me placing my daughter academically about 1 semester behind. In my previous videos, I've talked about how she's a very young 5th grader. She was 6 weeks from the cutoff, so she technically, if she was born 6 weeks later, she'd be a 4th grader right now. And some curriculum she places right at 5th grade level, some she's a little behind, and with math she's definitely about a semester behind. However, technically I have heard that Singapore math and primary mathematics is about a semester ahead, so maybe she's on level, but we're moving on to level 5. We'll do 5A this year and finish out the year with that. All right, so let's go on to science. So we started in December our weather and water unit from The Good and the Beautiful. In my November update, I think, I went over all the curriculum that we were using for this. I'm going to do a separate video for it because we are using this, but we're also using this spine, the Brainiacs Book of the Climate and Weather, along with a discovery deck from Walduck Way, some books, additional things. We've actually done 7 out of the 21 lessons that I have designated for this in 1 month. So we're already a third of the way done. So I'm guessing we'll be done with this probably mid-February to the end of February. And then we're gonna go on to our last science, which will be a bird unit study. And I'll go into that when I have all those moving parts. So for our Christmas unit study, I had several things. I'm really disappointed to say that I didn't follow through with her kindness unit. In here, she had a calendar to write down all of the acts of kindness she did, plus daily reflection sheets to talk about those acts of kindness. It was so busy and there was so much going on. I almost completely forgot about this. So I think we're going to carry on the kindness unit probably into January. And instead of it being a Christmas thing, just focusing on acts of kindness, because that was really important. And I just can't believe it fell to the wayside. Now, we did do the Grinch curriculum, and this is by, it says Barefoot Within the Trees, but I'm pretty sure she changed her name. I will link it below. This unit study, first of all, this is the same lady that we did our Halloween curriculum from. She makes amazing unit studies. We have loved every single one of them. My daughter literally loved it so much. She wrote an entire story about the Grinch on her own. My daughter absolutely loved this curriculum. I mean, she just has such nice touches. She has movie tickets. She has activities throughout. So many fun things. My most favorite was this unit she did on oxytocin and related it to Grinch, where you learned about it and you did an experiment. And then she had questions on kindness. I don't know. I really like what she does. She gives you recipes. She gives you science. She gives you language arts. It's just a very fun curriculum. This was my daughter's favorite Christmas thing. We did, from the Walduck Way, get their 12 Days of Christmas as well as their discovery deck. We're gonna have to push this off for next year, I think, which is totally fine. We did a couple of these and we only did 2 days of this. It was busy. We were doing the Grinch curriculum and we just had a lot going on. We did a lot of arts and projects. So we didn't get as far into it, but that's totally okay. We still have next year. Okay, so for mental health, we have been reading The Care and Keeping of You 2, and we finally finished that. I really like this book. I did edit out some things in here that my daughter wasn't quite old enough or wouldn't understand or weren't relevant, but for the most part, everything in here I included. So now we're going to be reading It's Perfectly Normal, Changing Bodies, Growing Up, Sex and Sexual Health. This is not the most recent version. I got this at a used bookstore. This, I believe, is the 2004 version. But we have read It's Not the Stork. We read that first, and I really liked that book. This book definitely delves into more topics. This 2004 version does include some topics that people might not be comfortable with. However, I have heard that the newest version has even more topics. So I would definitely recommend looking through the topics on the most recent version. And if that's not something you're comfortable with, getting an older one, just definitely, I feel like any curriculum where you're talking about sexual health, there's such a unique criteria for each family and what people are comfortable. So everything in here I was comfortable with, but that may not be the case for everybody. So anyway, I'll let you know how this goes. Another thing in mental health that we've been doing is the Big Life Journal. I highly recommend this. This is so amazing, especially when you get it in conjunction with the lesson plan that they have set up and the podcast kit. Essentially, each chapter in this book has a podcast that's associated with it and lesson plans to go along with it. And in the podcast kit, when you're listening to the podcast, it has activities for them to do and then follow-up lesson plans. You guys can go so deep with these lesson plans. They are so well thought out, so thorough, so fun, so many different options. They have options for every type of learner. And it's definitely, I believe, geared more towards a classroom, but you can definitely adapt it to homeschool. So this Big Life Journal is 7 to 10, as well as the lesson plans and the podcast kit. The next level, I believe, is 11 to 13 or 11 to 14. And I believe there's also lesson plans and podcast kits with this. This was not cheap. I don't have the price right off the bat, but I'll list on the screen how much it was for this book, the lesson plans, and the podcast kit. And it does take a little bit of preparation. You're probably going to need about 5 to 10 minutes to go through it all to be prepared, because otherwise I feel like it can get really choppy. But it's well worth it. Even if you're only doing a lesson once a week, so worth it. And my daughters really enjoyed it. And it's just a different, unique spin on mental health that engages them a little more than just like a workbook. All right, so now I'm going to go through our read alouds. We started the month with the Vanderbeekers of 141st Street, and we did read it for a while, and my daughter was bored. And I kind of thought she was going to be bored once we started reading it. I don't know if it was a little young or that she's reading, I've mentioned this before, The Keeper of the Lost Cities, which is a very exciting fantasy series. This was really cute and sweet. I think this might have been more suitable for her, maybe a year or two younger. And just, she wasn't vibing with this. So we stopped reading that. And I was like, well, I don't really have anything to read, except for I remembered Otter from Catherine Applegate we had not gotten to in our science curriculum. This book is written in kind of a poem verse form. We really like it. It's just an otter story, her journey. Starts out with her getting bit by a shark and everything that happens after that. But this has been a really light read that she's definitely into. So I was thinking for January, I do have a book that ending, the last one by Catherine Applegate. This is a 2-book series. There's, Endling, the last, and then book 2 is Endling, the first. And I've heard a lot of good things about these as well. So we're either going to do this one or we're going to do Prince Caspian from the Narnia series. We read the first book last year and she really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it. There is a book in between these two, but I decided to go with the second book where the 4 kids go to Narnia because that seems to be where my daughter was interested in. So I'll let you know which one of those 2 books we do end up reading for our read aloud for the month of January. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about is a geography unit that we're going to be starting in January. I have been working on this curriculum for 6 months since this summer. I bought 2 different curriculums from 2 different people, in addition to just scouring the internet, finding books, finding different recommendations, and have kind of formed my own. And I'm going to have a whole video on how that was. So far for the year, I have 4 units. So the first one is going to be geography, or unit 1, continents and intro to food and languages around the world. And from then we'll move on to geography, Antarctica and the Arctic. I'm really excited about this. This has all our reading. This has all of our activities in it. And I've really put a lot of effort in. I've got a lot of stuff from Etsy. I've really spent a lot of time to make this work. So this Antarctica and the Arctic curriculum is going to take us through January and into February, maybe the very beginning of March, which I feel like will be perfect timing for winter. So I'm not actually going to do any winter themed curriculum because this is essentially that. Then we'll move on to a short unit on Greenland. And I made all these covers myself, and I just went and found free clip art and made them, so we'll do that. I'm assuming that these will all take us through the beginning of April, and then we'll finish out the school year with Canada. So I have been working on Mexico as the next unit that we're gonna do, that will start in 6th grade. However, I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna break things up and move on from this point, so I will keep you posted. But I am gonna do a thorough walkthrough of those. I'm using so many books, so many resources. I'm gonna show you guys all of that at some point so you can kind of see what I'm doing for geography. All right, guys, that's it. I hope you guys had a great Christmas and a great New Year. If you have any questions about anything I've talked about, feel free to let me know in the comments. If not, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.